Welcome again for another episode of Journey to Woke. If you are new here, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is basically me just sharing with you my journey in writing my very first book, a memoir called Woke, the culture-proof journey to true identity. And if you don't know by now, I wrote this book because I wanted to basically express my story, tell my story, right? And also express some of the commentary of the times that we're living in. I mean, that's why I called it woke, right? Basically, what the book is about is redefining the word woke and really bringing people to the truth behind awakening, my journey of awakening and what I have learned so far, and just what makes that journey so powerful is the presence of God. And it's something that I want to share with people. It's something that, in all of us trying to find what it is that we are on earth for, because I definitely believe that we are living in times where people are actually in search of their purpose, they're in search of truth, they're in search of awakening, right? And they're in search of awareness, like what actually is this life thing about, right? So I wrote a book about my journey and some of the revelations that God has shared with me. And at this point in my journey, I will tell you that I have been writing this for what is now 4 years, right? I started in 2019 and now we're in 2023, right? And it's so crazy because I remember, I think it was August. Yes, it was August. I remember very clearly. I think it was the 8th of August. I was at a church conference in Hillsong, Braamfontein, and basically what was happening is it was a youth conference. It was called Encounter for the ages 18 to 25, right? And I had just turned 25 in 2019, if I remember correctly. Yes, I was 25 in 2019. And I went to this conference and a whole lot of things were happening at that time. Oh my goodness, just going there, it was a lot. It really was a lot that was going on in my life at the time. So basically what had happened on the last night of the conference, right? My pastor, Pastor Phil Dooley, the lead pastor of Hillsong. At the time, he was the lead pastor of Hillsong Africa. Now he's the lead pastor of Hillsong Church globally, right? And he preached a message about being woke. And he specifically used the word woke. And I can't remember the details of that message, but I just remember so clearly feeling in my spirit, God confirming to me that this is, a go-ahead for me to release this book, right? Because when you start something, sometimes you're not entirely sure, should I be doing this? Is it a good idea? Is it going to work? All those questions come into mind. So I had started writing the book around May, June 2019. And then in August, I was still in this beginning phase of writing the book. That's 3 months, past. And already I was starting to feel okay, really, I need to get this off the ground. And immediately after the service, I did something I never do. I was ready to leave. The friend who I was with, we were in the car and I was like, okay, stay in the car, I'm coming back, right? And she had no idea where I was going. And I went back inside the church and I went to go speak to Pastor Phil. And I was like, oh my gosh, what you preached today was such a confirmation, because actually I'm writing a book called Woke. And I was just so excited and I just really wanted support, essentially, right? And he said to me, you know what? He said, you can speak to my friend Lawrence, right? Who works with him. Well, worked, I'm not sure about right now, but he's like, speak to my friend Lawrence, he's much smarter than me, right? And Lawrence was just standing right next to him, and he's like, hi, oh, you writing a book? Okay, that's amazing. And Lawrence said something to me that Lord, a part of me wishes he never said this, but I'm glad he did, because it helped me. He said his wife is an author, right? She is an author, and he said that writing a book is not an overnight thing. It takes time. And he said that his wife took 3 years to write the book that she had just published at the time, or was in the process of publishing at the time. And I was like, the devil is a liar. Rebuke that word. I was like, no ways am I going to take 3 years to write a book. And here we are, 4 years later. 4 years later. And I think I mentioned this in the first video, that I was in the process of publishing the book in 2021. I did a photo shoot, my headshots and everything. We went to Maboneng and we took beautiful pictures. I was working with an up and coming publisher. So she was a literary agent, and she had just started a company that was basically helping people like me, people who want to publish books, get out there, because she had also gone through the stage of actually publishing her own book. So it's a lovely girl that I met at church, and I was like, actually, you know what? She's right in front of me. We used to be in poetry club, I guess, together, right? Our church's poetry club. We were together there, so that's how I met her. And she helped me out, and we shot the cover. Oh my goodness gracious! I told the story of that in the first episode of Journey to Woke, and all these things were happening, and I was like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And the crazy thing is that, you know what? You really can't fight God's timing. I hated what Lawrence said to me, but I loved what he said to me, because every single time I felt guilty about putting off the book, I felt guilty about not being consistent in my writing. I remembered what he said, that this is not an overnight thing, and it's going to take time. And if a fully grown married woman who has been doing this longer than I have can take 3 years to write a book, then me, who's doing it for the first time, who's still very young, who's to say that it shouldn't take the same amount of time, or it should take less time, right? So God has been working on me with regards to my patience. And, after 2021, 2022 came around, and I was like, okay, I need to finish this book, right? And a whole bunch of things happened that year. You'll read about it in my book. And then this year came, and I was, really seeking God's heart for my life this year again. And, it was the same thing. You need to finish your book, right? For most people who are watching this, they know that I do fashion design, right? I own a clothing brand, and that has been most of my life, right? That has been my most predominant occupation. I am a businesswoman, so there's other things that I do, but that has taken up most of my time. And this year I really have not done anything fashion related, come to think of it. I think I've barely even posted anything. Have I posted anything? I don't know. But it was so hard to let go of my fashion journey in order to finish this book. And when I did, I still had to be really committed to finishing the book, because it's easy to be like, okay, so I'm not designing anymore, I'm not running my brand really hands-on anymore, So what do I do with my time? And it's easy to get caught up in other things, especially also in the process of healing. That takes up a lot of your time. It takes up a whole lot of your time. But there was healing as well happening as I was writing this book. And just with a whole lot of challenges and obstacles that I faced this year, I've tried to plug myself in as much as possible with the kind of people who think the way that I think, or who want the same things that I want, right? Not the exact same things, but who want a life led in purpose and who want a life led by God, right? And so I was fortunate enough to have been plugged into a movement called Beauty of Transparency. And the leader of Beauty of Transparency, the founder of Beauty of Transparency, her name is Tisetso. And Tisetso has another program called My Purpose Project, right? So while I was healing, I got connected to this person who has a healing movement, but she also has a program called My Purpose Project that basically helps entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs who are Christians and who want to live a life in purpose, right? So it just so happened that on one of the prayer nights, the Beauty of Transparency prayer nights, I was like, oh my gosh, ladies, can you please pray for me? I need accountability. I've been working on my book, but it's so hard to be consistent. It's so hard to actually finish it. I've been working on it for so long, but I really feel like I need to dig my heels into the ground and actually get it done. And I felt like I needed accountability, right? And it's so easy. Trust me, I'm the kind of person who's like, no, I can do it on my own. I can do it on my own, right? I was the kind of person who's like that. So it was really difficult for me to actually say that, but I felt like God was saying, just be honest. Beauty of Transparency is such a great space because it's safe. I know that I could say the worst thing and not be judged, So I said that, and the person who was leading the prayer was like, hey, speak to Tisetso, give her, text her and tell her what you need. And I sent her a long voice note about my story and what I've been trying to accomplish and all those things, right? And she was like, hey, I run a program that helps women with exactly what you need help doing, and we are an accountability group, and we have resources, and it's basically a course. It's called the 90-day program, where you dream, plan, and achieve. And I enrolled, and I was like, God, look, if this is you, then the funds will come, right? And the funds came, thankfully. I'm blessed enough to actually have family who is supportive, that understands that, okay, this is what she needs to actualize herself. Then it's fine. Let's give her that, right? So I'm very fortunate about that, and I'm very grateful. And it has been a great journey walking alongside ladies who are also just desiring to really step into purpose, desiring to heal, desiring to find God, desiring to, take on the Great Commission and become disciples themselves. So one of the one-on-one sessions that I had with Tisetso, she actually pointed me back to the course, and she was like, go on the LMS and actually go to the I think it's the plan section of the program, and she's like, study the content that's there and get an execution plan together. And I cannot remember the woman that was actually facilitating the execution plan webinar. I will share that information because she's great at what she does. And the difference for me between me trying to sit down and be like, okay, God, I'm going to do this on that day. I'm going to write this many pages. I'm going to write for this many hours on this day. And my Monday is going to look like this and my Tuesday is going to look like that. The difference between me spending the past almost 6 months of this year trying to do that and actually getting the execution plan from my purpose project is that, man, I can't even explain it actually. I don't know what the difference is. I want to say the difference is God, but God was there the whole time. But I think it's just wisdom. I think it is divine appointment and divine timing. I think it's also just the things that led up to that. I think there's so many times, so many moments in our life where we put focus on the thing, on completing the task, that we negate the process altogether. And that's why I share these things, because I mean, it's hard for me. I'm not saying these things because I feel like I've figured it out. I'm saying these things because the process is hard for me, and I want to share that with people who are struggling just as much as I'm struggling with their process. So then I put together the execution plan, and it was like just crazy. I went on Asana and I was like, okay, on this day, this is what we're going to do. And, created a system. I love Asana because it's like you have a system. It's not like what I had before. I had just written on a piece of paper, drew like a calendar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I was like, okay, on this day, I'm going to do this. On that day, I'm going to do this. The reminders and all the things, all the tools that are available there helped me. And I just feel like on the journey to getting to the point where I actually looked at this execution plan and put it in place for my writing, there were so many things that were happening, right? All the wrestling, all the trying to be consistent and all that stuff taught me a lot about myself. So by the time I was writing this execution plan, I was like, okay, I know I want to work on Mondays, but Mondays are just, I don't know what it is. It's like, I feel like Garfield. It's just like, I'm like, I don't want to do anything on Mondays. I want to do things, but I don't want to do things. So God is like, okay, cool. Mondays are your rest days, right? I don't really get to rest on a Sunday, like I think most people do. Saturday is just like, Saturdays are Saturdays, right? And in this execution plan, God was sort of speaking to me and telling me to take into consideration the things that I had been learning and the things that I had been seeing and the things that I was fighting. I was fighting so hard to be the kind of person that wakes up at 5 a.m. on a Monday morning, goes to the gym, comes back from the gym, does whatever she needs to do, Bible study, praying, worshiping, watching a sermon, whatever it is, eating a healthy breakfast, and then getting into work by 10 o'clock or by 9 o'clock, and then working from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, and then clocking out. And, like the 9 to 5 type of thing. As an entrepreneur, that's what I was trying to implement into my life. And it wasn't working. For months, I was trying it and failing and trying it and failing. And God was like, there is an element of surrender. And I was like, God, I don't want to be lazy. And I know laziness, like we live in a culture that really is programming us to be lazy. And I was like, God, I know what your word says. I know you want us to be diligent, but how do I do this without outrunning you? How do I do this in your strength and in my own strength? And God just showed it to me, man. God showed it to me. I'm trying hard to explain, but just spending that 2 hours or 3 hours that night after watching the execution webinar, I was like, okay, 9 o'clock is supposed to be my bedtime, but I was like, okay, God, look, I feel like you're the one who's here, so let me keep putting together and, doing all these things. And for the first time in my life, I finally understood why they say to fail to plan is to plan to fail, because that plan set me up for a win, and not planning kept setting me up for failure, because at the back of my mind, I'm thinking on a Sunday night, okay, I need to sleep at 8:30 today so that I can wake up at 5 o'clock and be amped to go to the gym and do all these things. It's crazy. In this plan, I only work 3 days a week. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Like, it really doesn't. It really, really doesn't. But that's how I know it's God, because I'm like, okay, it goes against all the voices of the motivational speakers and, the 5 a.m. club people and all those things that, we're constantly told to do, right? The hustle and the grind and all that kind of stuff, which oh my gosh, I lived for those things. I ate it up and I was like all about the whole hustle and the grind thing. And like you'll read in my story, there were so many things that happened in my life that were trying to purge me of that, because it wasn't just built on me living in Johannesburg. It wasn't just built on the fact that I'm in a generation where motivation is like everywhere, and that grinding and hustling and becoming excellent and being great is like really ringing in every single person's ear in our times. It wasn't just that, it was also based on my own brokenness. And to strip all of that off has been a journey and a half, but it is worth it, because I'm delighted to tell you, beloveds, that it has been a week, actually a week and a half. I was supposed to record this last week Friday, but anyway, we're here now. It has been a week and a half, and I can gladly say that, my goodness, something I've been trying to do for 4 years, I managed to do in a week and a half. I started from the beginning of my book, and I edited every single thing that I had written in January. I wrote it all in January. I wrote my life from age 0 to age 28. And I just couldn't get myself to tweak and make those edits until the execution plan, until God was like, just surrender and don't try and do this the way you think it should happen. Just do it the way that you know it can happen. So, man, the progress is real. The progress is real. I am done with my book. And it feels so strange to say that, because I'm like, am I really done? Maybe I can add this, maybe I can add that. But yeah, I just need to proofread and send it to the publishers, and then we're done. We are done. And then you're gonna read this book, and you're gonna, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And I hope that at the time that you're watching this, man, that you are as excited with me, and that you look forward to reading about my story, and that you gain from it what you need to gain from it. I'm going to be honest and tell you that doubt and fear and second guessing and questioning have been ringing in my ear, but thank God for His grace. Thank God for every single experience that I have gone through that has taught me to just be, regardless of what I fear the future being. So yeah, I hope I have covered everything that I needed to cover. Wow, what a roller coaster, man. So if you ever want to write a book, best way, first of all, no, it's not easy. Secondly, best way to do it is with God. It is with God. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to say definitely is that it doesn't just take one thing to achieve your dreams. It didn't take just one thing. It didn't take just the execution plan, but it was a whole lot of things that sort of led me to this moment. So like I said, I was trying to get into a consistent routine of gym, exercise, going into my word, and just having a day that is so meticulously scheduled, right? But so many things have broken me out of that thinking just so that I can get this one thing done. Reading books. There's a book called Divine Time Management. Can't remember the author, but I will find it and I will share it. I have been plugged in and listening to Ray Roberts, right? Oh yes, Ray Roberts. My goodness, PT. Shout out to PT, man. Oh, that man. He's my mentor. He doesn't know it yet, but he's my mentor. He's my mentor because at the start of the year, when I didn't know what to do and I was trying to figure out how I was going to achieve my dreams, he gave me the kind of strategy, God gave me the kind of strategy through his ministry, through The Called, that's what it's called, The Called. He's got a podcast. It's a movement that really is for entrepreneurs in the kingdom, business people, not even just entrepreneurs, but there's people who work in corporate as well, who are attached to that part of his ministry, who have been blessed by it. And the connection to all these things was all just God. Like, it was all God. Like, I couldn't have been like, okay, Google, tell me, give me a Christian who is going to help me with my purpose and my business. God just led me there. He led me there. He led me to all these people. And oftentimes I think that we want this one drastic moment that is going to catapult us into purpose. And sometimes it happens that way. But for some of us, it's like breadcrumbs that eventually lead to the whole loaf. So far, this is my loaf. This is a slice of the loaf, finishing my book. I know the journey isn't over. And I'm so excited to bring more of my story and more of my process in the different ways that God wants me to share it with you. And not just my process, not just my story, but some of the things and the principles and the tools that God has given me that I think could be very useful to you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Thank you for being a part of me telling my story. And engage with me, man. Like, guys, say stuff, say something. Tell me if this has helped you. Tell me what you are hoping to see or expecting to see from the book, If you've seen anything that I've put out there, whether it be in fashion, whether it be in telling my story, my journey, whether it be about God, about me, whatever it is, I'm sure you can see and you can tell, like, okay, cool, this is what we can expect from now. And I would love to hear what it is that you've taken from my journey so far and what you look forward to and what it is that you would like me to cover, right? That I may not have actually covered before. Any questions that you have. Yeah, so thank you. I cannot say that enough. And get my book, man. Get my book. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be so exciting. I love you all. I appreciate you so much. And goodbye.